Hello, citizens of YouTube. This is the Geeky Nerd here, and today we're going to be talking about the James River Armory assembled Zastava Arms M72 B1. So before we get into the weeds here, guys, with this review, I just want to send a big thank you out to everyone who has subscribed, liked, and commented on the previous videos. I greatly appreciate you guys, and I always enjoy having the conversation with you. Apologize for not uploading the past couple of days here and kind of being off the schedule, because I know we try to keep to that Tuesday and Thursday schedule, but you know, life happens. So have been unable to upload any videos for you guys at the moment, but I'm going to be doing consistent videos from now on, or at least for the foreseeable future, so should get caught back up here. And with that said, let's get into it. So as I said, this is a Zastava Arms M72 B1. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, it is a Zastava Arms AK made in Serbia, but this actually was not made in Serbia. The parts are Serbian, but it is utilizing an RPK style frame. So what does that mean? An RPK is essentially a heavy barreled, big boy AK for sustained fire, and just has features that will essentially help in that function. Now, like I was saying, this isn't actually assembled by Zastava Arms. It is assembled by James River Armory. And I picked this up from Classic Farms. Not sure if you can see that there, guys. The lighting might get a little wonky here. But you can see there, JR M72 B1 James River Armory, and chambered in 7.62, of course, because I'm not blasphemous. And with that, they actually never really made these for export. James River Armory, what they actually did was they took an RPK parts kit, which you see has this thick and large handguard, the grip, and then the stock here. And instead of having the extra long barrel that I'm sure you guys have seen on the M72s with the little bipod that comes out from the barrel that will typically hang on the edge here, they custom milled a new barrel, and it is shortened to standard AK length, but it is finned for heat dissipation, which is fantastic. Now, how well it dissipates heat, not too sure, but I can say it definitely does look cool. It gives a very Thompson submachine gun-esque kind of look to it. So that's one thing about this. And with doing the review on this gun, we'll just talk from the front to back. Now, it does have 14x1 left-hand thread, standard AK style. It does have a guide rod. It is not a capture guide rod, as far as it doesn't screw in. It's kind of just held in there with friction. Has a front sight, as all things should, is covered in it, and it is not canted. Now, these aren't, I guess you would say, regular production. They have had a few runs here and there. I don't know how many are going to be able to occur, especially with the whole COVID thing and the administration change, but this is, in essence, just a parts kit with a custom barrel, so you could contact them and see if you could get one. I got mine a little while back and have loved it since. Now, like I said, moving back here, it does have the 45-degree canted gas block. Nothing crazy there. Sling swivel, thin barrel. Has the extra thick, beefy, big chungus hand grips here. Front grips, 4 grips. They are very comfortable. Nothing too crazy to ride home about. Have shot about, give or take, about 120 continuous rounds through it. This didn't start smoking other than the standard machine oil burn off, but nothing too crazy there. It didn't get too hot. Now, it does have a little feature reminiscent of the RPK that you can tell, is it has this adjustable sight, which is an RPK style, and you could tell because instead of just the standard AK sliding rear sight, it has this indexed rear to where you can actually rotate the sight in increments however much you need. So you can actually adjust it for windage, not only elevation here. I'll try to bring it around to the camera here for you guys. I don't know if you can see. It has little hash marks in there, which make it actually pretty nice. I really don't use it too much, but it's still just a nice feature to have than to have not. Moving on down here, you see, it says the Zastava Yugoslavia. So this definitely is an older parts kit, 1982, marked on the rear trunnion there. So it does have some age to it, but it doesn't mean it doesn't function, because It's a parts kit, so it's never been used, and when it was assembled, it's essentially a brand new gun. You can see the bulged trunnion there. For those of you guys that don't know, the bulged trunnion is a very nice thing to have with AKs, and especially with RPKs. The reason for that is the trunnion is where all the explosives are where all the explosions are happening, and where the most pressure is. So because this is just a stamped standard receiver, which there's nothing wrong with that, when you're going under sustained fire, this area is the weakest of the whole link. So when that is a bulged trunnion, basically meaning that they've beefed it up in that area, it reduces any possibility of failures, or at least in the hope that it does. A lot of newer AKs, American-made ones, or any ones coming to the market, like the new Zastava M72, those are now starting to have bulged trunnions. There's nothing wrong with the standard flat side sheet steel, but it is something that American shooters, including myself, have definitely a preference to, just giving that inherent more reliability. Also, the reason why they Zastava put chrome barrels. They'd never done chrome barrels traditionally, but they started bringing those in. This is not a chrome barrel, but being that it is a American made and I don't intend to shoot corrosive ammo through it, doesn't really matter to me. Moving on back here, you see just a little standard sling swivel, nothing too crazy. Rear stock. All of this is again original furniture. Is very nicely made. Does have a nice thick hard rubber butt pad. Kind of feels like a hockey puck. So definitely not doing any favors for you. Flipping it over, you can see the grip. Again, nothing to write home about. It is comfortable. I would say this is definitely not the standard skinny AK, crappy handguard that everyone always switches them out. I would say this is more in line with like a US Palm Grip AK. Definitely comfortable. Definitely nothing I'm not gonna change, just to keep the authenticity of this. Does have the bolt in the white, or as I say, which basically means it isn't coated, any phosphate, any black, anything like that, which is perfectly fine. Looks nice. One little feature I especially like about this rifle is that it has the 3 positions for safe, full auto, semi. Sorry, had to think about it. And one little interesting fact is, again, I'm not sure exactly how time-tested and proven it is, or not time-tested and proven, but more or less fact-checked, but it sounds about right, is that the reason why it is like that, reason why semi is all the way at the bottom and then full auto is in the middle, is because, as Mikhail Kalashnikov was designing the AK, he was basically under the assumption that if a standard conscript soldier, which in the Russian Red Army, kind of what you get, your standard farmer, tell him how to shoot a gun and that's about it, is in the haste of battle, you would flip this all the way down. Just, your fine motor skills definitely aren't going to be attuned if you're not used to battle. And as opposed to going to full auto at the bottom and blowing through all your rounds, or potentially, sorry about that, guys. The camera went weird on me before I was going on my geeky nerd tangent. Is that as opposed to going to full auto and wasting your ammo and not unintentionally hitting your target, then or unintentionally not hitting your target, you guys know what I mean. They put it semi, that way you could have control fire, and you had to make the purposeful act to move it up to full auto and have it go pew pew. This is not a registered machine gun. This is just safe and semi. No third pin, so no problem of the old Fed boys coming. But it is just a nice little thing to have. And your reason why it's in U, R, and J is just in Cyrillic, or Serbian, one of the two. Moving on down, you can see in the side here, nothing too crazy, standard AK. Of course, before, I probably should have done it. But guys, for all of my videos, I always save check every single one of my guns. There's only a select few that I have that are consistently loaded. So just for anyone who's wondering. Oh, there we go. Nothing in the chamber. So with that, it is a pretty smooth action. Obviously a little bit hard to do left-handed, but there we go. So nothing to write home about. Doesn't get caught on anything. Slick. Trigger pull. Definitely a milsurp trigger. Definitely a bit of creep. And reset. Definitely audible. Definitely could feel it. And the actual wall to go back once you fire is right there. So you can definitely get some quick shots with this. Standard paddle release. And yeah, it's pretty much a generalized overview of it. One thing that when this did come, because it is, again, a parts kit and it is AK, it did require a bit of fitment, no effect to the rifle itself. For me, though, this was a tiny bit loose, this handguard. What I actually had to do is, if you look down in here, you might be able to see it. Let's see. You see those two like little legs that are going in with the space in between? Those two dog legs. Those are actually going into the front of the receiver. They were going perfectly straight, all fine, but they were wiggling. So what I did was I actually took a pair of vice grips and just moved them out ever so slightly with the metal shims in the wood, and that cleared everything up. And overall, it's been a very good rifle. I think it's pretty neat. It definitely gives that comm block nostalgic AK look to it. No complaints from James River Armory. They did a fantastic job being it is what it is. And yeah, just a fantastic tried and true time-proven design that is timeless, ageless, and gets better like fine wine. Or fine vodka, I guess you'd say. Well, with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, or subscribing. Let me know what you think. If you guys are an AK guy or an AR guy, just don't get too rowdy down there in the comments. And with that, I hope everyone's having a wonderful, awesome, fantastic day. I will catch you guys next time. See you guys.